Hello, my name is Iftach from AutopIT. Today I will show you a quick demo of our latest version of AutoDR tool, which handles automatic disaster recovery for virtual environment vSphere based, and currently NetApp back in storage. We are now on the welcome screen, and we can see we have several scenarios. A DR test, which makes use of a flex clone in order to not interfere with the replication. We have a CIFS DR test, which is a disaster recovery for CIFS services of NetApp. And we have a real DR that use directly the replica destination. And we have the possibility to execute scenarios that were previously executed or planned in order to save us all the planning and selections. Today we'll show you the DR test scenario only. Let's begin. The steps include first two steps for connecting. The AutoDR supports a single virtual center connection and multiple storage controllers. After that, we're going to load the details from the production data. There's a possibility to load the details from a file or to live capture. Now we will use a file, and this will be used on a real DR when the production site is unavailable. Then we're going to see replication status for viewing the status of which VMs are replicated or not. And then the final steps are the actual selections, what VMs we're going to register, what VMs we're going to power, and in what order. We're going to pair virtual networks from production to disaster recovery site in order to determine the network adapter connections that were connected on the network on the production side, what network they will be connecting on the DR side. Then we're going to choose snapshots for data stores, NFS data stores, and RDM. We're going to set then some storage connectivity options, and then we're going to execute. So we have our virtual center on the DR. We are over a VPN connection, so it might be a bit slow. We're going to choose the cluster for virtual machine placement. Now we have only one. We're going to then choose a data store for RDM files. We're going to recover now also among the virtual machine, one virtual machine with multiple raw disk mapping LANs. Let's choose it. Then we're going to choose a resource pool. Now we have only the default resource pool of the cluster, and this is in order to limit the resources used by this scenario. And we're going to set the working folder in the inventory of the vSphere, both for virtual machine and storage hierarchies. Let's finish. We're going to add a connection to a NetApp storage controller. We can actually now add more storage controllers. The tool will automatically understand where the virtual machines are coming from, if it's volumes, data store volumes from a vSphere server from this cluster or the other. Currently we have only one destination cluster, so let's go next. Now we're gonna load the file that contains the production site data. As I said, there is an option to capture live. We're going to directly be moved to a replication status view. As you can see, there is some loading on the background. What is happening in the background is that we're taking the data from the production site and we cross it with the replication status, and we are able to understand which VMs are fully replicated, which means all the disks are going to be available on the destination. We have an orange VMs that are have at least one disk, which is could be a flat VMDK or RDM, that are not being replicated, but we know that the OS disk is available, so these VMs could power on and we have in red virtual machines that are not available in any of the replication relationships. We can search. We can see that we're gonna register among some virtual machines this VM, which is an exchange with one flat VMDK for the operating system, and all of the RDMs, all of the other disks are raw disk mappings. We can see for the type, flat, and raw disk mapping for the flat VM, for the RDM disks. We can see also the LAN path on the storage controller. Let's go next. In this screen, we're going to choose which VMs are going to be registered, which VMs are going to be powered up, and in what order. So let's choose our some VMs. Let's choose a Linux as well. This is a Linux, and let's choose our Exchange server. Now, here I'm going to mark which VMs are going to be registered. And also I will take to the right two machines. The machines I'm going to take to the right, those machines are virtual machines which will power up. I can control the order of the power up with these arrows. So let's make Kali go first, and I can select how much time I'm going to wait after this virtual machine is up. This is in order to guarantees that some dependencies are going up before others. For example, if I would like to power on a domain controller before Exchange server, so LDAP services will be available, so Exchange services will go up. I will put the domain controller on the right and maybe on the first, and select some, I don't know, 5 minutes in order for the directory services to come up. So let's just set here 1 minute, just for this example. And so we chose 2 virtual machines to power up and 2 other virtual machines to just be registered, also the Exchange. And as a rule, as long as you go on the steps from up to down, the tool is narrowing results for you in order to keep secure selection. For example, virtual machines which are not replicated, which were in red on the previous screen, will not be showing here, so you cannot choose them. Let's go next. We're gonna map now production networks to destination networks. Currently, you're gonna see all the networks that are being used by VMs we chose to register. So as you can see now, all the VMs networks adapters are using only LAN, one network. We're going to pair it to the DR test network on the DR networks and add the pairing. Let's go next. Now the tool identifies which data stores the flat VMDKs are belong to, excluding the RDMs, of course. So we're going to choose snapshots for each data store. Let's choose the latest. Also for the other data store. Of course, if I would choose more VMs, I would see more networks to pair and more data stores to select snapshots for. But the tool is narrowing down results, and we're going to see only the results that is in use. Let's go next. Now we can see we are on the RDM snapshot selection. We could see that we have only one VM that has RDMs, which is the Exchange itself, and we can see which disk we need to choose snapshot for, because this could acquire lots of time. There is a button for selecting common latest snapshot. Will filter out elog snapshots and busy snapshots like snap mirror. So we can just press it, and we will add all of the RDM snapshots. We can see the VM label and the disk label, the snap mirror volume, and the snapshot selected. Of course, if you want to change, we can remove and edit again with a different snapshot. Let's go next. Now we're going to set now some storage connectivity properties. Because the connected storage controller is a NetApp-based, the tool identifies which vServers are being used by the VMs RDM volumes or NFS data stores. So we're gonna have to set some connectivity. There is a NFS interface on the vServer where the NFS data stores relies. because there's only one, it shows it for us, but export policy has two. We're going to choose A6DR, which is an export policy that will allow us to mount the volumes as NFS data stores on the DR virtual center. This is under the responsibility of the user to know which export policy will allow the mount. And we can see there is another vservers which contains the volumes for the LANs, and the tool will provide you with a list of initiator group which will be used for mapping the LANs. So there is only one, and we will use it. Let's go next. We are on the execution screen. We can see that there is 3 steps in order to divide the big operations to small chunks. There is a mount data store operation will make all the storage operations in order to make the data stores and the RDMs available on virtual center for use. And then we're gonna have a register and power, which will register and power up the virtual machines in the by the properties we set, the order and the networks, and we'll handle all the RDMs on the virtual machines which has it. And then we can clean or finish in order to reset the status to the current one. There is a possibility to just save now the scenario and not execute, and this could be used later on if we want to execute this scenario several times. Maybe each time we want to examine the exchange readiness on the DR side. This will spare us next time all the selections we just did and go right away to execution. So let's mount the data stores. We could see that on the bottom we have some express information for the operations, but we can always go and see a full log of what's going on. We can see it also contains stuff of the analysis of the replication and things we've selected. We can see that here it already mounts the first data store on the E6s. Let's go and see what's going on the virtual center. We can see that all here both of the NFS data stores are already mounted, and under the folder we set on the connection step. In addition to the NFS data stores, as part of the mount data stores operation, because we are on a test scenario, FlexClone now will be used, as well as the NFS data stores will be used for RDM volumes. So because we have 11, it's pretty much we're gonna have to wait a bit. Okay, now that it's done, let's register and power. Let's check first the log to see some of the activity. We could see here, after mounting the data stores, we could see the DR, the FlexClone creation for the RDM volumes. Let's register. Now I got a message that we chose to register some VMs with unmirrored VMDKs. There is one RDM LAN that it's not been replicated. This LAN is not critical. For example, it contains the snap info folder, so we could use we could mount it without it. So let's continue. Now let's check what's going on in the background. Okay, so we could see a virtual machine is already registered and powered up. As we can see, the tool first handles the virtual machine selected for power up and in their order we set. We also chose to sleep now after the first one, so we can see here that we are sleeping. We can also see that the network adapter was set to the new network we set on the pairing of the network's screen. We can see it already connected to the destination network DR test. Okay, we're gonna see it's gonna move to the next VM and power it up. Reconfigure for one network adapter and a power. In the background, the tool also answers the virtual machine questions, such as if I copied it or moved it. Default is copied, of course. And we can see it registered the other two VMs without powering it up. And now for the exchange, we're going to see some more operations that the tool is doing automatically. First, reconfiguring the network, and then remove obsolete RDMs. As you all know, if we are registering a VM that had RDM LANs, which their backing object, like for example a SCSI LAN, is no longer available because this is a replicated VM, they're going to be shown as zero flat VM decays, and the tool recognizes them automatically and removes them first before it continues to assign the new RDMs. We can see it in the log. We can also see it here, removing previous RDM label, and now we can see it started to attach the new RDMs. We could see for each one which disk label is being taken care of now, which LAN ID is being used, and target. LAN ID is dynamically. The tool looks for dynamically for available LAN IDs for mapping, for safe mapping. We could also see on the log the removal of the previous RDMs and connecting the new ones. Also can see the settings of the network for each VM. We could also see the files created under the data store we've selected to store the RDM files. We could see under our folder that all the files created. We are not interfering any other RDM files or being used in this data store. We have our own folders. Okay, we see that we are done. Let's check the exchange and see the RDMs. We could see two network adapters that were set to the desired network on the destination, and we can see all the RDMs, which are RDMs created from flex clones set by the tool. As you can see, the tool handles everything from network of the storage and virtual machines, and LAN mappings, and iGroup settings, and NFS mounting and policies. It actually does everything for you, which is pretty cool. Now that we are done, we could save again, it doesn't matter. We could finish, but for now let's reset the environment. We can see all the information we need and some of the total amount of virtual machines that were registered. Now let's clean it up. The cleaning is doing exactly the operations the previous two steps are doing in the opposite order. It will first clean the unregistered VMs and power them off, remove the RDM files from the RDM data stores, only the ones that were used for this scenario, and then we'll unmount and unmap LANs and volumes and delete them on the storage controllers. We could see the removal of the data store from the E6 hosts and deleting the files from the RDM data store. We could see VMs are no longer here, and of course data stores are no longer under our folder. And we can see now that it's destroying the objects created for this scenario on the storage controller. Okay, when the cleanup is done, we are automatically brought to the welcome screen. Thanks for watching.